The tutorial for Fab Faces. I just wanted to come out with you with a little tutorials on some Halloween designs. It's right around the corner. We're all gearing up for Halloween season. I think we're all really excited. So I wanted to share a quick on-the-job skull that I do all the time. Super simple. You can get it done really quick. And it's impressive. So let's get started. What I like to use for skulls, and really almost any kind of base that I need in white, I use Paradise. One, because it has great coverage, and two, it's not too heavy, you know, and clown-like, and three, it smells really good. However, I did read somewhere that it's coconut based, so I guess if, you know, it's made with coconut oil, so if there's allergies or anything of that nature, you may want to double check. I've personally never had no problems. I used Paradise and Wolfe exclusively for years, and you know, I've never had any problems, but I just want to put that out there because I did read that somewhere. Okay, so I'm basically, I just loaded up this kabuki brush, and I am going around the eyes, kind of mapping out a mask, dragging this down over the nose and over the upper lip, because that's where our teeth are going to sit. And I usually fill in the lip white too. So just like that. And I got this whole load done, I mean the whole base done with one load, so that's super great. Really love these kabuki brushes. They are super fabulous. And it has a nice small end. I can control it. And then it has the larger end, like a blush brush almost, and then the smaller end. So it's super great. I'll flip this right over, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of lumineer powder. And for girls, I like to do this because it kind of gives the illusion of almost like glitter. You know, it makes it nice and sparkly and soft and pretty looking. Sometimes, if I want it to be a really pretty delicate mask, I'll use the Fab Shimmer White instead of the Paradise, and it works just as great, and it gives it that super shiny, shimmery effect. So play around with it. Okay, also with that same blush brush, I'm going to add a little bit of blush to my cheek area. I'm a girl, so I'm going to make this just with a little bit of a girly twist. But if you're doing this on a boy, obviously just leave these parts out. Okay, and this is a Ben Nye Lumineer as well. They come pressed and in powders, from my understanding. Here in Denver, I had access to the powdered ones, and I have a pretty good variety of those in starblends, and I love them both. I highly recommend powdered makeup, especially for around the eyes, is what we're going to move on to next. And so what I like to use are these little smoothie blenders. You can get them in a pack. They're disposable, so they're super nice. And I'm going to use a little bit of starblends, so I'm just going to load this up. I just press down into my starblends, get a nice good load on, and then give it a little tap. Okay? And I'm going to go right down into my eye socket right here, just like that. You usually have a little bit fall down. That's okay. We'll just kind of use that to create some shadow later on. I follow the eyebrow up so I can kind of blend that in, and then underneath the eye. And these fit so perfectly into the shape of the eye. I really like these, especially for boys, because let's face it, they don't like having that wet makeup around their eyes. The Starblend and the Lollipop brush will get you where you need to get going without having to fuss too much. They're super soft, they fit right in the eye, so I really like them. And as you can see, it makes it super fast to put down the color. And the Starblends come in all kinds of colors. Well, not all kinds, guys. But the great thing about Starblends is you can actually mix your own colors. If you break them apart and sift colors together, you can create your own colors. Like I have like a lime green, I have a really pretty blue I made, I have like a deep magenta color I made. I made a really pretty purple. So, you know, I mean, just mixing colors together for sure. Okay, so I have a little bit of excess powder. You can see it right there in the crease. I'm just gonna take a little fluffy brush and kind of sweep that away because we don't want too much there. There we go. Clean that up a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, I got both eyes laid down with not much trouble at all. I'm gonna come in with this same brush and just kind of use it to add some shadow. So I just kind of come around the edge and create nice shadow. Just like that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it's a skeleton. And I usually come on the tip of the nose and kind of drag this up. For my skeletons, I like to keep the nose really small and dainty. I think it looks better myself. So just give it a little bit of shadow on the nose. Okay, and I got a little sweaty here, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more white in. Okay, and then I'm kind of just gonna create a little bit of shadow where my teeth are gonna lie. Just like that, okay? Like I said, don't have to be perfect. Every now and then, I don't always do this, but I'll give kids the option whether or not they want their skeleton to be pretty or they want it to be scary. Sometimes you get a little girl, it's, I want it to be pretty, right? I mean, so here's what I do to make it pretty. Since we're already kind of taking the girl route, I'm going to use some of that lumineer powder. This one is like a really pretty pink with a little bit of sparkle in it. And I'm going to come right down above the eyelid and just add in a little bit of color. Just like that. Alright. So it's just a little bit of highlighted pink. It's not super noticeable, but it's there. And I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit of gold. Just kind of highlight. Give it a little bit of more delicate prettiness, if you may, or if you will. And you see what a little difference that made? I like it. I think it looks pretty. Now we're just down to line work. That's really what it's all about here. Sometimes I come in and add a little bit of stenciling. That's always really super pretty. And honestly, I think it helps everything kind of pop out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to use some wolf white and a little finger pouncer. I like the way white on white looks. But for boys, a lot of times I'll use, you know, something entirely different. Okay. Let's use my little henna bit stencil. So it's just a little bit of detail. I'm going to come right above the eye.
Call from Loretta's.
Oh, I'll call her back. Okay, so there you go. See, just a little bit of detail. Just makes it a little bit prettier and delicate. And I'm kind of just laying these on top of each other. So it's very subtle. Alright, now let's get on to the line work. I'm going to be using Wolf Black and a number 6 round. So I'm going to come in and kind of just follow the shapes we already created. And give it a little flick out there. And just follow your eye around. I like to come in with my finger and kind of just drag some of this black down. Okay. Do the same thing on the other side. And I like to press, kind of get a little bit thicker on the edge there, towards the ridge. And drag some of this color down. Just kind of blend it in. Alright. That's looking pretty good there. Now we just pretty much got to outline the rest of it. So I always like to make sure you have a variance of thick to thin. I think it just makes a big difference. And drag a little bit of this black. Same thing, you're just kind of creating shadow here. I usually kind of just drag it back into the hairline and down a little bit. There we go. Alright, let's put our nose in and we'll add some teeth. So we've already pretty much created the nose. I'm just going to follow those same shapes we created. And then same thing, just kind of drag down some of that color. Give a few flicks up in the middle. Make it more skeleton-like. And then for the teeth, I usually ask the kids to kind of stretch out their lips, so hide their lip from me. And then that way I can lay down the teeth. So I just follow the lip down and create these little mountain shapes. Just like that. And then from the top of the triangle, I pull a straight line down. Just like that. Okay. Now you can certainly come in here and create a little bit more shadow. We kind of added a little bit in earlier before we laid the teeth down. So if I have a long bun, I usually don't do too much of that. I don't paint the bottom lip just so the kid can still eat and drink. The top lip seems to be a little bit more forgiving with smearing than the bottom lip, so I don't generally do that on kids. But if you're doing a full face skull, adding the bottom teeth looks super cool. But this skull is almost a full face skull. I mean, you've got all the basic features that you need to be pronounced. It's always super impressive. Parents and kids are always super happy with it. And it doesn't take much time at all. So anyways, I hope that you can use this. You can certainly tweak it for boys and girls and change up even the colors, but a classic black and white skull, you know, there's no going wrong there. So anyhow, thanks for joining me for another tutorial with Fab Faces. I'll be coming at you with a bunch more Halloween designs for the season. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye. We'll see you next time.